every person has a story that's worth telling. And if a company can figure out how to fit themselves within their customers' story as the guide, the possibilities are endless.
You're listening to the Endless Customers podcast, brought to you by the team at Impact. Endless Customers is a proven system to become the most known and trusted brand in your market. If you want to start to learn the principles of Endless Customers and how you can implement them in your business, pick up a copy of Endless Customers, a national bestseller wherever books are sold. Ready to start implementing Endless Customers in your business? Talk to Impact about how our coaching program can help you implement Endless Customers to success. And if you want to experience Endless Customers in person, do not miss our upcoming conference, Endless Customers Live, in Hartford, October 5th through the 7th, 2026. Registration is now open. And now, onto the show. Here's your host, Alex Winter.
Today's episode is about what happens when video stops being just a marketing tactic and starts becoming a real trust-building engine for your business. Because in a service like accounting, where clients are trusting you with decisions that directly impact their financial success, how you show up really matters. The clarity of your message, the confidence of your experts, and even the quality of the experience all shape whether a prospect believes you're the right fit or not. Joining us today is Marcos Navarro. He's the videographer at TMA Accounting, whose team has built a standout video strategy rooted in transparency, authenticity, and a standard of quality that reflects the level of care they bring to all their clients. In this conversation, we explore why they made video a strategic priority, how they help their experts show up authentically on camera, what they're seeing from YouTube and paid distribution, and how all of it is strengthening trust before the first sales conversation. Let's get into it. Marcos, welcome to the show.
Hey, good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. It's great to have you here. Thanks for taking the time to be here. I got a fellow videographer here with me. I love talking to videographers. We're going to have an excellent conversation today. I can't wait to get into it and talk about all the things that you're doing over at TMA. But before we do that, can you just set the stage for our viewers and our listeners? Tell everyone who you are, what you do at TMA, and a little bit about the company as well, please.
Yeah, my name is Marcos Navarro. I am the videographer at TMA Accounting. We're to sum it up, we're a small business accounting firm, and we do probably the thing that makes us the most unique is we do, accounting, taxes, payroll as well, and we do all of that under one roof. So rather than having like disconnected companies doing those, providing those financial services, we do all of them, specifically for small businesses.
Very nice. Very nice. And you guys are based out of Indiana, right?
Yep. Yeah, we're in Indianapolis.
Nice. Mm-hmm. Very cool. Well, I think a good place to start, just because I feel like this is something maybe people are thinking that are listening and watching, and it's a common question, but for a small business and an accounting firm, to have a videographer full-time on staff, that's not something you hear every day. And I think it's really cool and forward-thinking, and obviously is something that matches up and aligns with the Endless Customers system and methodology. So can you talk a little bit about what it's like having you as a dedicated videographer in an accounting firm and in that space?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, no, I felt the same way when I started, like being a videographer, for an accounting firm. What does that mean? What does that look like? But, from the beginning, it was pretty clear that our CEO and founder, Tyler Thompson, he was just bought into this idea of showing up on video and, seeing that as a valuable storytelling tool to, not just market the business, but like do the whole Endless Customers thing where we're answering customer questions, and we're trying to show up transparently. And so I mean, huge credit to him to like he sees the value in it. And yeah.
That's awesome. No, that's really, I love hearing that. And we hear that time and time again on this show. People who watch and listen know this, that from the top down, it sounds like your founder and CEO really wanted this, believed in this, wanted transparency, knew that video is a great way to do that, to tell real stories that are authentic. And that forward thinking is a game changer. That's really cool. I'm curious though. So accounting can be pretty, what's the word? I guess sensitive, because you're dealing with sensitive information, right? You're dealing with businesses' personal data, people's personal data. Like it can be pretty sensitive as far as like how you approach it and how you bridge those gaps to build trust. So how does video play into not only building that trust, but how do you like kind of dance around that like sensitivity and making sure that you're being mindful of the fact that it's people's personal data?
So when it comes to being an accounting firm, handling people's sensitive information, that is an aspect of it. I'm not an accountant, so like, yeah, that's not my background at all. So I kind of came in a little bit blind, so to speak, like not knowing what this would all look like, but uh quickly learned that like, how important it is to for us to show up in a way that gains trust from potential customers, maybe even more so, or just in a unique way than other companies, because we are handling people's, financials. And
Yeah.
that was a big aspect of just how we show up on video, is like, um, wanting to gain people's trust and show up as a credible resource and guide for them. So that, yeah, that underpins, I think, a lot of how we think about using video. Is like, okay, what's the perspective of the small business owner who, you know, needs needs help with these things, and who's the type of guide or resource that they would, trust with their information.
Yeah, no, I would assume it builds a lot of confidence with potential customers just because trust is huge no matter what you're buying, no matter what product, service, industry that you're in, right? And it's just I think a deeper layer for you, especially where like video builds trust. You can be selling this guitar over here or selling some products, but when you're talking about people's finances, it's a whole nother layer of trust that you have to build to gain that confidence. And I think that you guys have leveraged that in a great way. We're going to get into that more. But before we talk about the content itself, can you tell me a little bit about, and you had just said this, where like you're a videographer, you're an expert in what you do, you're not an accountant. What was it like starting to work with these accountants, starting to work with the sales team, starting to work with these guys to try to bridge those gaps and get them ready to be on camera and to start like getting comfortable with using video?
There's like sort of the stereotype of an accountant, I think, a little bit. And um, there might be some truth to it, but like, sort of reserved, like last person that you would think would want to be on camera. And I'm not saying that everybody is like the most excited to be on camera, but I actually found, and I think it's just testament to our people. I actually found that like that most of our accounting experts like were, not only like willing, but like excited to help and show up on camera in this way. Like even if they needed some like, you know, I wouldn't even say they needed convincing. It was more like, this is what we're doing, and like it's sort of my job to make them feel comfortable. And yeah, in my experience, like they were all, to their credit, did super well with it. And like, yeah, I think for accountants at times, even it's like a little bit of a nice change of pace from what they're like usually doing, to
Yeah.
like, go work on a video with me.
Yeah, crunching numbers all day. It's like, let's just break out of that for a little bit and do something different. But so it's also different for you because I think a lot of people that are videographers and specialize in that like niche category, they're great behind the camera, they're great with lighting, they have all these technical skills. But Endless Customers really pushes you as a videographer inside of an organization like TMA to not just shoot cool stuff and make it look good and edit cool stuff, but also you really have to bridge those gaps with your team members and create that trust internally with them so that they can deliver a good performance and be great on camera. So like there's layers to it. What was that like for you? Have you done that before? Have you had experience with that? Or was this kind of a new territory for you trying to like bridge those gaps?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, my background, to, I guess, sum it up, it was more or less like, I'm a self-taught videographer. I kind of learned on the job, on different jobs, freelancing as a videographer on marketing teams. And so I like to, you would understand this as a video guy too. Like I like to talk to videographers a lot about like how most of us sort of at this level, the title videographer almost doesn't encapsulate everything we do enough because,
Right.
you're also often the person writing the script. You're dealing with the talent. You're directing, you're giving feedback, uh you know, uh, you're editing, you're optimizing after the fact, which we're going to talk about, I think. Like
Yes.
there's so many elements to it, and I kind of forgot the original question.
Well, no, I like what you're saying because
Yeah,
traditionally a videographer is like that's the person that holds the camera and
right.
records stuff. That's what they do. In like a film or like when you're on a big production type setup, right? But in this sense, and what Endless Customers is teaching, it's much more all encompassing. You really are like the producer. You're the creative. You're scripting. You're bridging these gaps with the talent. You're scheduling. You're shooting. You're editing. It's very much like a one stop shop. So you have to be versatile in this role. And I've seen the work that you do. You're certainly versatile in what you're doing. I'm curious, like, just how has that been for you coming into this company and then being in that spot? Has it been a lot to handle? Do you feel like you got it dialed in? Like, what's that journey been like for you personally?
Yeah, I mean, the journey for me has been really good. Like I think like, I mean, I'm someone who naturally like brings my passion wherever I go, I think. No matter who I'm making a video for. But I, I will say, and again, it's a credit to like the overall, like, I think strategy that we're taking on is that it's given me room to like be creative and try things and like, you know, make good images, make good videos.
Yeah, it's
So
exciting.
yeah, it's I don't know if everyone has that experience, but like that's been my experience is like very much like, all right, this is your domain. And uh we just have a lot of, I think, like cohesion about like what we're trying to do that like um yeah, it's just fun. Like I have to
Yeah. No,
remind myself that even though I'm making accounting videos, like that that I get to do what I do is it's a lot of fun.
yeah, I love hearing that, and I can tell that you have fun doing it. I can just see it on your face. Where like it may not, like theoretically it's accounting videos. You wouldn't think that'd be fun to do, but it really it can be fun, and you can make these videos interesting, and you can still be wicked creative, and you get the team involved. Like there are ways to basically tell a story that that can just really make it engaging. And I'm curious with that, right? So how has that affected like production quality and consistency, and like how did you kind of find your footing or your voice as a brand when you're building this content and creating this content?
Yeah, I mean in terms of finding our footing and like, talking about what we want our videos to look like and feel like, it's really started with like just like conversations with our CEO and our founder. We're a small business, so like uh I we talk a lot about how we want to show up and how we want our videos to feel, and we're very much open, like we're very much like feel like we're still experimenting and like figuring things out to some extent. But I
Mm-hmm.
think when we were first starting, like our thought process was like wanting people to think like, they're if they look like if they look like they know what they're doing when it comes to videos, content they're producing, then they must know what they're doing when it comes to accounting. So that was sort of like the driving force, I think. still trying to, still recognizing that like that's not the end all be all, that you need to like make valuable content still and like tell good stories and
Sure.
show up on camera. Like there's a lot of things after that that need to fall in place, but that was a big part of just getting started, was trying to hit a little bit of like a higher standard of YouTube content that you might not expect to see from like a small accounting firm in Indianapolis.
Yeah.
We really wanted our content to feel like, like a little bit like shocking to people. Like, how are they doing this? So we talked a lot about how our studio would look before we set it up, and then did all of that, and how we wanted the brand to show up on our channel. Um, yeah, a lot of pieces to it, but that's sort of how it started.
Yeah, I love that, and I love the competitive nature a little bit of like differentiating yourself from everybody else in the marketplace, and that's what you need to do. You need to disrupt and you need to differentiate yourself so that you have your own identity and your own uniqueness to it. And I definitely think you guys have achieved that. And if you're listening and watching to this, you got to go check out TMA's YouTube channel. We'll put a link in the description because you guys have some really killer and fun and excellent videos, in my personal opinion. I'm curious, before we get into the results, right? I definitely want to talk about results because you've been having some really great results with what you've been doing. Can we talk a little bit about like the mix, so the content mix, and what your day-to-day and week over week kind of looks like as far as the content you're putting out and where it's going, YouTube, website, just so that people can, if you're a videographer out there, can get a sense of like what you're doing?
In terms of the content mix, like we're sort of primarily focused on YouTube, and our channel called Small Business Playbook, providing like guidance for small business owners, primarily surrounding like accounting, bookkeeping, tax topics, but like also broader than that. And so we try to show up on there. YouTube Shorts, obviously. We recently started a TikTok under the handle TMA Accounting, and then showing up on our website. And our learning center is a place where we share all the videos we make for YouTube, and then also there's content for customers to find valuable information on there as well. So we're also making videos that are more sort of under the TMA banner, even more so than like the YouTube stuff. So I don't know if that did that answer your question.
Yeah, that's a great mix. That makes sense to me. And then I'm curious too, like, what about frequency? Is this like, are you hitting the 2 to 3 videos a week? Are you doing more than that? Is there shorts mixed in? Like, what does that mix look like? I'm just curious and want to paint that picture for our listeners and our viewers.
Yeah, in terms of frequency, we're hitting roughly, our goal is like, one long form video a week and then 2 to 3 shorts each week as well. So that's sort of been the frequency we found to be like doable for us. I mean, there's always the desire to like do more.
Sure. Yeah.
And I think we will get to that point, but that's sort of the frequency we're doing now, roughly 3 videos a week.
Nice. You guys are crushing it. That's it's not easy to get to that point. That's a lot of content to be creating, and there's definitely I think sometimes people think that quantity is better. So like, we'll double down on that and we'll put 2 long forms and X amount of shorts. But I think it's important to also, and I think to your point, find a balance between quantity and quality, and finding a consistency with putting out quality videos and quality content that's still, checking the box for at least 2 to 3 videos every week, which is again, an undertaking. So with that, I'm curious, you obviously work with a Endless Customers coach. You've been working with Impact and the team here. How has working with a coach helped you? Obviously your video skills are very proficient. You're talented, but from an accountability standpoint, to continue to hit those numbers week over week and to find ways to optimize your time and your schedule and working with your team, like, how's it been working with a coach for you?
Yeah, I mean, you said it, accountability, like working with our coach, John Becker, he's amazing. Really does provide that accountability that we need and that I need. Um, and in more than that, like it's not just accountability, but like um just continuing to encourage fresh ideas and like thoughtfulness behind what we're already doing. It's like easy to get with the 3 videos a week and however many articles we're producing every week.
Hmm.
um it's easy to get into like a sort of like a, I don't know, not spiral, but just like mindless doing the work. And
Yeah, like an endless loop. It's like rinse, wash, repeat, and you can almost
yeah,
get stagnant in your creativity if you aren't aware of it.
yeah, for sure. So I think so our coach helps with keeping that stagnation from happening. Like always be thinking about ideas, always be, thinking about how we can do things better. And Yeah, I can't say enough nice things about John. Like I leave our meetings often like just like reinvigorated and like, sometimes I leave them like a little bit stressed out because I'm thinking about all these things I need to do or want to do. But again, he like it also provides like a track to stay on so that like um you feel like you're staying on track.
That's
So
great.
yeah,
No, that's
it's
great.
super helpful
We love John Becker here. Shout out to John Becker if you're watching, buddy. He
for
used
sure.
to before he was a coach here at Impact. He used to work on the marketing team with me, and everything you're saying is so true. He's just so calm and collected and hyper creative and just very talented and is such a great writer and all around. So John, keep up the great work, man. So I'm curious, with this coaching and with the team that you have in place, has there been a piece of content that you put on the Learning Center or on YouTube or somewhere that like has really stood out or has really performed well or something that like you're really proud to talk about?
Yeah, there's a couple of examples that I think about. The most obvious one is we produced a video called "What's the difference between a bookkeeper and an accountant?" Um,
Okay.
and really wanted it to just not be boring. And so like I with that video, I leaned into our subject matter expert, Dan Engie, who's a CPA here at the firm, and his just like interest in Star Wars, um, and because I just felt like I needed a something to illustrate the difference and something that like humanized him and like got him excited to talk about it. And I think that ended up going really well. And I think it's especially reflected in like some of the shorts we made off of that content, because I ended up using like R2D2 as a comparison for a bookkeeper, and then Obi-Wan Kenobi as a comparison for an accountant. So that concept has a sort of like uh grabby nature to it because Obi-Wan Kenobi's on the thumbnail, but it felt true to like the person's actual interest that was in front of the camera. And so
Totally. Yeah.
I was yeah, proud of that one because it was like not, trying to use something like Star Wars to like get more clicks, but it was like felt true to the content, help explaining the content, but also felt true to the person.
Yeah. No, and I think that's the basis for it is like, yeah, you could leverage Star Wars because it's obviously, I mean, it's Star Wars, it's so popular, but it's personal to the subject matter expert that you have on camera. So you've really personalized it to them. It makes them more comfortable. It's a win-win all around. So I think that's just a really great way. And I think that's a good note for people out there to hear that personalizing the content is really important. And it makes people, it builds trust faster because it makes people see a side of you that maybe they wouldn't know or wouldn't get to know about you. So I think that's just a really, a really cool value add. Nice job. I'm going to go check that out after this. I want to see that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, do it.
So let's get into results now. I definitely want to talk about some results here and just get people amped up about, it's one thing to get the creative dialed in, to get the team vibing, to get everything, moving in the direction that you've had it go, which has been great. But then it's also about results and getting the business to scale, getting some numbers, some sales, keeping the sales folks busy here. What kind of results or shifts have you seen in buyer behavior? And can you just kind of give our audience a little bit of the success that you've been having since you've been putting out all this great content?
In terms of the results, I think, aside from just like showing up in a transparent way and making it easier for customers to like, get answers about pricing and making the process to like book a call uh, easier and clear. We've probably seen the best results just on our YouTube channel. Like again, we're only at this point like a little bit under a year into the YouTube channel, but we have really seen a lot of cool results on the channel with subscribers and engagement. So at this point, we're roughly at like 7,000 subscribers on our channel and roughly 1,200 views per video, and that's combining like organic traffic and also ad traffic. So Google ads and like boosting our videos is also a big part of our strategy. Um, but even with using ads, like we've still seen so much organic growth, and that's still the majority of the traffic we get is through organic or in like non-ad based engagement. So that's been encouraging, as well as like using ads to like give a little bit of a boost, but also like still seeing like a lot of people engaging with the content, just through like organic search and through YouTube
Yeah.
recommending our videos and stuff.
Yeah. Hey, 1,200 views per video for every video that you're putting out. That's not chump change. That's really great. That's good engagement. That's consistent engagement. That's something to
And
strive for. Yeah.
yeah, for sure. No, we're really happy with it. And it's also like testament to like utilizing shorts. I think like that's obviously like a sort of quicker medium. But
Yeah. Just a little bit.
that's yeah, yeah. Um, but that's a big part of of those views too, is like trying to create really sort of top of funnel shorts based off of our content. And we're starting to make some like original stuff too. Just because that's a real top of funnel way to like draw people in.
Yeah. Yeah. You had said something in there that I found really interesting, and I want to just take a second to talk about. You had talked about paid and doing some paid pushes behind the content that you're creating. Can you talk a little bit about how that's been working for you and just like the strategy behind what you're doing? Because I think that's a really cool piece and a great way to get, organic is wonderful and we all want organic, but then if you pair that with a paid push, what can it do for you? And I'm just curious what it's been doing for you guys.
We started utilizing Google Ads to help give the channel a little bit of a boost and give our videos that we felt like were worth seeing like a little bit of a boost. And so we utilize Google Ads to help boost the content that we think is valuable and help boost our channel. It doesn't take a lot to see like results using ads. So that is a helpful thing too, is like you don't have to go crazy to like see some results. And I think for my position, like I am helping like set those things up and trying to monitor, results from ads on YouTube. But for me, I'm always trying to remember like you still need videos that are worth watching and that are going to be like valuable for people. no one wants to click on a sponsored video that ends up, you know, being
Not
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 good or not
cool.
valuable in some way.
Yeah, totally.
So
Totally.
so we think that, that our content offers that. So yeah, it's a constant reminder of like, you know, having the ads going, but then they can just kind of be going and you keep, working at making the content better and trying to reach the right people uh, who are in need of our services, and working with the ads to like help you determine that, or help you get there, because there's a lot of things you can do with ad spend where you can target certain, geographical areas, and you can have different goals for ads, like, YouTube engagement versus like clicks so that people go to your website. So it's a whole area that like I'm still very much learning about, and that's still sort of new to me, but
It sounds like we need to have another episode where you and I can go into YouTube, not just YouTube the paid piece of it, but analytics and the whole back end of YouTube Studio, because there is a lot there. That's a lot to unpack. But it sounds cool, and I think the big takeaway from what I got with what you're saying was that if you're going to put a paid push behind something, you should make sure that it's something that's valuable or that builds trust or that disrupts or something that's worth putting a paid push behind. I don't think you should do it for every single video you put out. It should be a little bit more strategic, and you should pick and choose
sure.
between the ones that really you think are going to stand out and represent your brand correctly versus, some of the regular content that needs to go out on a weekly basis.
Yeah, for sure.
Thanks for sharing all this. I love hearing all these stories, and I definitely think we're going to have to do another conversation about YouTube Studio. So we'll have you back on the show for sure. But my final question, I always ask this at the end of the show. With everything you've learned from endless customers, and for our viewers and our listeners out there that are listening to this right now, what would you say to them if they're wondering about like, I don't know if we should hire a videographer and if it's worth the investment. I don't know if our industry, like if we really need to differentiate ourselves. What would you say to those people that are maybe thinking that way and are in that camp currently?
I would say, I mean, I'm obviously biased as a videographer, but I will say, like, it sounds cliche, but I think a big part of endless customers and a big part of just showing up as transparent as a company and trying to get people's trust is like, are you sort of harnessing all the like tools that you have at your disposal to tell the right story? And that's the part that can sound cliche sometimes, but it is true. Like every person has a story that's worth telling, and more than that, like if a company can figure out how to, you know, not just harness that like power of visual storytelling in some way, but like find a way to fit themselves within like their customers' story as the guide, as the the person who is coming alongside them, um, then I feel like the possibilities are endless. Like the possibilities that you have through video are like really are endless. And again, I'm biased, but I just think it's such a powerful tool, and it's such a big part of our day to day lives. And if you can, yeah, show up in a meaningful way with video, like and even like find a way, like we talked about before, find a way to stand out, um, then I think you should definitely do that.
Well said. Well said, Marcos. Thank you so much for sharing your story and for letting us peek behind the curtain a little bit with what's going on at TMA and all of the cool video things that you're doing. Like I said, we're going to drop links in the description so you can check out some of the great content that the team has been creating over there. And again, Marcos, thank you for your time.
For sure. Yeah. Thanks, Alex. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Anytime. We're going to have you back on the show for sure. But for now, everyone out there that's been watching and listening, thanks for tuning in. I'm your host, Alex Winter. This is Endless Customers. We'll catch you on the next episode.